Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Okay, here we go.
Jeez, the hair is grown out.
Thank you. Yep, I got to do it while I still can.
Yes, sir.
Are we live?
We are live, starring the chat.
Starring you, the chat. All right, let's bring Stiff Arm Wax into this thing as the mod. All right. Welcome everybody to Crossover. Today is February 23rd of the year 2024. And as we normally do, we don't make assumptions, Drake. I actually haven't yet. As we normally do, we will start with any mail days or announcements. Does anybody have either?
No, it's a slow month.
It's the slow month. Slow month. Yeah, nothing.
Well, today is our anniversary of our app being launched.
2-year anniversary of the Card Ladder mobile app?
No. 3.
Is it 3?
It's 3 years.
We were trying to figure this out.
It's 3.
3.
I said 3, yeah.
Oh, she said 3.
Because we launched the site 3.5 years ago. 3 and 7, yeah.
Does that feel long or short?
2 sounded right, so I guess 3 is like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 years, holy crap.
Yeah. Feels like it was a long time ago, but the number on paper of just 2 or 3 seems small.
I think now that the app has had enough time to be established, it's pretty much the default from what I see people using. Like, if I say, oh, log in on the site, they're like, the site? You have a site? Yeah. It's the, like the web browser. You ever heard of it?
Right. Yes. The site. The web application, if you will.
How do I boot people out of the chat? Like, out of, no.
I'm about to block. Don't worry, I'm blocking that guy. He might be tall, but I can still block.
We just block out his legs. He'll be a normal height person.
All right. Venezuelan League stickers is going to kick us off. First question. Baseball is back. Please discuss.
Yeah.
Back, front, and down the... I don't even... Yeah.
There's
July in Florida. That's all I have to say. I'm scared.
There's only one thing I know about baseball, and that's that all the players have like see-through pants or something. That's what I know.
Yeah. So, number of issues with the apparel. I only just learned about this a few minutes, like a little more of the details about this just a few minutes ago. We got a few questions on that too. So USMNT Soccer Cards said, what do translucent baseball pants mean for the hobby? And,
Bad pictures is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, production issues.
And Out of Wax wants to know, Fanatics MLB uniform fiasco, is it a microcosm of more serious things?
There's a question, I don't mean to jump ahead because you just did like 5 questions, but there's a question about like, are the Panini cards going to be seen as like the next set of like 90s cards?
Yep.
And I kind of feel like that's an underrated topic because right when Fanatics takes over, like you're going to just see a bunch of complaints about Fanatics, right? You're going to, like, people are just going to immediately start hating it. They're going to be annoyed at production issues with this and that, just like when Panini took over. And then as time moves on, like as Panini fades away, people are going to be like, oh, I miss the days of like the gold prisms and the black finites. So I do think there's going to be a little bit of that like nostalgia and sadness.
Yeah, I think so, possibly. Something that could jam that up is if those brands somehow make their way over to Fanatics, and then the brand keep continuing. I don't know if there's ever going to be a huge Panini groundswell. I see a path for it, a groundswell of nostalgia. Like I see a path for it. I see it could happen. But I will say that over the last year to 2 years, maybe a little bit more, I've definitely seen people lose interest in Panini cards. Definitely. Definitely have seen that happen recently. Not me. I've never enjoyed Panini cards more than I do right now personally. But I have to be honest with my assessment on that and just say that I mean Panini cards have lost some of their momentum over the last year or two for sure.
Do you think there's any chance that Panini would sell the rights to like the Prism brand to Fanatics, given that they're suing each other?
Yeah, I don't know. The path of that happening does not seem super likely right now.
So people that are fans of Panini, would you be rooting for the Prism brand to go away, given that it would kind of lock up the rarity, like tie a bow on that neatly and move on, or do you want it to be moved?
Yeah, I'm ready for it to end. I'm definitely ready for it to. I'm ready to stop stressing trying to find the McCaffrey finite every year.
You have to find the McCaffrey superfractors.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, the '90s had a run, and then there was the Fleer bankruptcy and stuff. So like, it just feels like a 10 to 12 year window or so, or maybe 10 to 15. I guess 16 even is I guess what Panini's going to extend to. That's good. That was a nice generation.
Yeah.
But how about you? Do you care one way or the other?
I'm like feeling the nostalgia for the Panini era, and like it is feeling like it'll be like a nice thing to look back on and kind of potentially chase it, in the near future, because it does seem like it is kind of wrapping up a little bit here. I mean, we're still a couple years away, but the fact that Wemby doesn't really have a lot of cards this year is really expediting this feeling for me. Like I know he's got Prism and he's gonna have a black Prism eventually, but he show up. But it does feel like this Wemby thing is kind of this first part of the transition, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Jake over at Bleecker Trading LA says, "Make the finites finites." Nice. Nicely done. Corey says, "Prism Golds forever." All right. Next question here. So we just knocked out like 4 at once. That was great. Bruin Killer says, I think this is more aimed at you, but at the show in general. Was there any backlash from Dennis Rodman collectors after last week's slander?
I didn't get anything.
Nice. The author of this question wanted to know what all that Dennis Rodman hate was about, and MK Sports Cards observed it as well. So, and Blake Griffin, one of one collector, Black Griffin collector, just noted it too. Nobody like really took exception to it, but
nobody messaged me.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody was trying to get anything going in your DMs. I see.
If someone messaged me like like some random stat, they know that I just crush them back because there's not much they can do.
I love that. All right, moving on. Love Basketball Cards says the Wemby card chase seems to be less than Zion's. Did the hobby learn a lesson, or is there some other reason for this?
I mean, a lot. It's like this Fanatics thing, right? There's just like and he doesn't really have that many cards out yet, so there's just not that many sets out. And it's like Zion was like the peak of the, run up on the boom. I don't know. There's all these reasons.
Yeah, and Zion had bounties. Zion had that like $500,000 bounty, I want to say, something like that, on his NT Logo Man, which was a mind-blowing figure for a 2019 class pre-pandemic situation. And there were other bounties too. I'm not aware of any Wemby bounties yet, which is ironic because the bounties make people feel really strongly like the chase, but the absence of bounties actually could be evidence of the fact that there's naturally a really strong chase. We don't need to incentivize people to buy this with bounties. They're already going to buy it.
There's no bounties even on the Black Prism, which is going to be his best card, right?
No, I don't know of any on the Black, especially not from like a big retailer. I do know that there's been a bounty or two placed on his Prism Gold, but nothing like.
Have
it was like
you
80
seen
grand.
any Prism
Like
Golds?
yeah, I've seen one. Yeah, one of those shirtless Blez pulled it, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it on eBay for like $2 billion?
I think his shimmer is actually on eBay for $500,000 OBO.
Black?
The black shimmer,
Would
yeah.
you rather have the gold or the black shimmer?
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a really great question. Probably the gold. I don't know. Yeah, probably the gold. Hockey Cards Gong Show says Slab Sharks has a 100K bounty on the Wemby Gold.
On the gold? Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That is a lot.
The black would be a neat card. I mean, Wemby's looking pretty good.
Especially with the Spurs uniform and the black curtain in the background, like it'll look sharp. I'm not gonna lie. Like it'll look aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. Definitely will. All right. Cajun Cardboard says, will people realize what happened to Luka Doncic cards is going to happen to Wemby cards?
What's happening to Wemby cards? Just that they're starting high?
Yeah. Yeah, I have to.
Well, I don't need
started high.
No, but Luka Prism base cards were going for over $2,000 at one time. Nothing against base cards?
That happened to every player. Where they just went up and then they went down.
Yep. Happened to Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
You just said that the Wemby Gold has a $100,000 bounty on it, and it hasn't been pulled yet. Luka Gold Prisms did not hit that until after he had proved himself worthy of.
Well, even more than that, it just lined up really well with the pandemic bubble.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Why is my PC player taking shots? All right,
these are strays.
Yeah.
These are strays.
I'm catching strays over here, Brian. Cut it out.
Did you see the post where it was like? Well, it's not a post, but everyone was kind of pointing out that that horizontal Mahomes Shield Auto sold for less after each Super Bowl.
Yep, that was great. That was great content that made its way. I first saw it on iCollector 23's page.
Yeah.
And then it made its way to a Darren Ravel tweet.
Well, that's where it died.
Yeah. Because of course Ravel's he can't wait to say the worst things about cards.
Yeah, I wonder how his tickets are doing. It's just looking at that, it's like the correction from the post-pandemic fighting against Mahomes' greatness. Like the two are going toe to toe, and which one's going to win out in this battle of pushing the price in the other direction? And we obviously seeing which way. Because if it wasn't Mahomes and it was some other random player, it would go from 450 to 50K. But instead, it's kind of sticking by this 250K range. If that was a Josh Allen or something, then it'd be down to 50K.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Jam Collectibles would like us to discuss the tanking prices for rare rookies of current stars such as Giannis. So Giannis is now catching a stray.
It's who do I want to make the face of what's happening to every player?
There is a competition for that going on right now.
The reason that they're picking those players, Luka and Giannis, is the thought is man, if it's happening to these guys and these guys are playing so well, it's probably happening to everybody. So that no one's kind of safe from it, I think, is maybe the thought.
Yeah. Yep. And what do we want to say about tanking prices?
Do you have the Giannis index pulled up? I haven't looked at his in a while.
I can give you an idea of what it's going to look like.
It's like this, one of these deals.
Yeah. Here's the Giannis index.
Oh my god.
We'll call this is Mount Giannis.
It's still up from pre.
Yeah.
Pandemic though.
Yeah, but it's back to about where it was in June of 2020. So
do you remember when we had the soccer middle finger graphs?
Yeah.
These are like middle stub graphs. We need like a new name because it's not quite a finger. They're a little bit wider.
Well, the cliff.
That looks like a cliff.
Well,
that looks like a wave, actually.
This looks like a shark fin.
Yeah, yeah. We need a new something for these like longer tailed ones.
So this question, or I mean, this card caught my eye. We have a question later, just kind of asking for impressions from the PWCC Premiere, and Cal Drago highlighted this card on his Premiere recap. But I mean, this is the Giannis NTRPA gold out of 25, BGS 9. And it was 9,100 in 2018. It was 160,000 in 2020, and then it sold yesterday for 33,000.
Both the base PSA 10, those got so high when you're done with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll go. Yeah. And then it looks like it was the same copy that sold all 3 times. Same patch for sure. I haven't checked the serial number. All right. And then you said let's look at the base for Giannis.
I just remember those because remember Gary was all about those Giannis base PSA 10s.
Look, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Until the auction houses start treating this like fine art and limiting when you sell things, you're going to have these huge price corrections.
Yeah.
Because the same card is sold 3 times. Like, stop.
Yeah, so the Giannis Prism base, which is much more limited than the Luka. The Luka ended up having like 20,000 PSA 10s. The Giannis has 3,000. That went from about $7,000 in 2021.
I know who bought that one. That one at the top.
You bought that?
No, I do. I know who bought it.
Oh yeah. all the way down to $645 today.
I think our tall friend referenced them earlier. Yeah, that one's way down.
Yep. Yes, it is.
I agree with Christina though. There was like a point when everything was going up and everyone was all excited that we were starting to compare things to like fine art and like treating these as like collectible items. I just in the last couple of years it's been more of this like gambling breaking feeling to me.
Yep.
I know that's not what she was saying. The point she was making is about like controlling the liquidity of it and like how often you auction things and you control when they hit market and stuff. But I in my feed lately has just kind of felt more like buy, sell, trade, gambling, investing, flipping than usual. And I think that the turn needs to be like the collectors kind of grabbing the bottom and treating these as like art pieces for their collection that they want to hold and not send to auction every few months and flip them and move them around. Until we get to that point, I think we're just going to keep on this sort of flat down trajectory.
Yeah, I think that's right. So the Giannis Gold has 25 copies, and 1 is sold this year in any grade. Last year, there were 4 sales of it. 2022 had 4 sales of it. 2021 had 8 sales of it. 2020 had 1, and 2019 had 1, and 2018 had the 1. So definitely more coming to market. But what's just shocking is that it looked like it was the same 9 that sold every single time since the pandemic started, and then just 1 copy came and it sold for 160 or whatever, and then it sold again, and then it sold again last night. It's the same copy. So it's just this one that got sucked into the speculators portal.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that card like on Instagram too a bunch with different people.
Yeah. So there's something going on there too, and it's like the question that I think about right now is what was it ever truly worth? I mean, obviously we have market data points that were coming at a time of an incredible bubble. and that featured people bidding on the card who clearly had no interest or no financial ability or both to own it for a long time. So now that they're out, and I just say, what was it, if you didn't have that, what was it actually worth? Was it ever more than 33,000? Was it ever in the parallel universe of not a crazy bubble?
Yeah.
A growing hobby, but not a crazy bubble.
You sent me some Giannis graph this week where you drew the line across, where it's like, if this whole peak and drop wouldn't have happened, what's the thought? And that's kind of what you're saying now.
Right. Exactly.
Like, do we just ignore that boom and then followed by bust and just kind of pretend like it didn't happen? Or do we learn from it? I don't know. It was a crazy time.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't think we pretend that didn't happen, but I think we can ask, what was it? What's it truly worth? I think we're at a time where we can start to ask questions like that.
Because you're saying that most of that run up was just the price moving up based on people speculating they were going to be able to sell it for more shortly after.
Yeah, and just like a weird time of sort of incredible amounts of loans being given out that were collateralized against the cards. So that's a really low risk loan. And lots of free money that people had taken in, whether it was from, crypto investments or whatever. And, I think there's a lot of things that went into that bubble, that big old bubble.
Dude, the stock market is on fire right now.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that bleeds over or the interest rates are still too high. I have no idea about any of that, but
we have a question about that.
I did notice the stock market is going nuts.
Yeah. Well, one stock is going nuts, and it's doing a lot. It's that Nvidia stock.
Yeah. People are pushing Nvidia. It's I think I heard that it's the second most valuable company in the world now. Did I hear that?
Yeah, and my lay understanding of that is it's related to speculation on future industry building surrounding quote unquote artificial intelligence, which the AI community is pushing back and saying, this isn't even AI, guys. This is a language model, and we need to start differentiating the two. So the U.S. economy is riding right now on the promise of industry built on artificial intelligence.
And I think it's the thought that there's going to be a bunch of startups and small businesses that pop up and want to get a share of this computing power, and you're gonna have to inevitably buy supplies from Nvidia to get that computing power, and then they're going to use that to build AI products and software, and then that's going to boost the economy. So there's this really long chain of events that people are speculating on, and Nvidia is kind of the one just sitting there being sure, we'll raise our stock price and take on more investment, even though we don't have, we're not building it all just yet.
Exactly. Nvidia is up 67% over the last 6 months, and it's up 240% over the last year.
I think I heard that it's the number 2 valued company in the world right now, behind Apple.
Yep, I'm sure that's going to end well. All right.
They just zoom past Google and Amazon and Facebook. That's normal. With nothing to see.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Nvidia has more market cap than Canada's economy. That makes sense.
All right, moving on here. Hauser 1921 collection says, I do not enter many breaks due to the outrageous cost for a chance to hit something. Usually a very low chance at any return on investment. Besides dumpster diving for a cheap team and wanting to have some cheap entertainment. Although I find a great joy when there is a person or troll in the chat who buys in just to complain to the breaker, like it was planned by them personally. Do you have any thoughts about this? I know that breaks aren't something done a ton by you guys, so thank you for many insights.
I can't imagine spending time in my life, spending money just to complain about. I could do that anywhere. I could just go on Reddit and complain about everything.
Hey, look, you're overpaying for complaining.
There's many places.
Can you clarify the question? Is he saying that the breaker is getting a troll planted in there to troll them while they're breaking, or someone's buying in knowing that they just want to troll during the break?
My understanding of this, and maybe I didn't totally understand, is that he enjoys when somebody buys into a break and just starts like sniping at the breaker when the break is inevitably going for it.
He said pre-planned. What's the planning part? That's
like pre-planned by them personally. By who them?
My understanding of it was like as if the breaker is intentionally giving them bad cards.
Oh.
As if they planned a horrible break.
I mean, can't you assume that if you're entering a break, you're going to get bad cards? Because, I mean, I rip a lot of boxes. I often get bad cards. Like, isn't that why they're buying into breaks? Because they know that the return isn't there to purchase the entire box? Like, can we use some common sense here? Like, is that too difficult to ask?
Have you ever been in a break? Like a video break?
No.
On the internet? Me neither. I don't even know what it
I have
I don't even know what it looks like.
broken for other people previously.
Yeah. But like you know, going on Whatnot and like watching one and buying into it. Have you ever done that?
No.
I used to watch them more, but not anymore.
Can you watch them without buying into them and just complain?
You can watch. I don't know if you'll be allowed. If you start becoming a nuisance, they'll probably kick you if you're not bought in. Oh, George says I have bought into a break before. I don't know. Maybe I have. Not often. Is that our internet? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, or let's take this to a different level, okay? Let's take this to the level of what if the breaker were to plant a heckler?
Yeah.
As Jake
Bad,
said.
bad press is good press. Isn't that the thing? That's the phrase?
It's yes, it is the phrase. It's all just creating the entertainment premium.
Yeah. It's like people watch like WWE because they like to watch the bad guys, the heels. So it's like you need the heel in there to like make the show.
Oh. Can you imagine if every breaker then had to employ a troll?
Yeah. Everyone needs their Stone Cold Steve Austin. Trying to impress Justin in the chat. I know he likes wrestling. I'm trying to think of heels. I don't know that many of them, but I'll think of a few.
The Rock.
The Rock. I think he's back. I think I heard that he's like actually back and he's like a heel again.
Yeah, he should be a heel. He is not a hero.
No.
And in my childhood, he was a heel, and I never forgave him.
I think
anyone who the in front of their name is a heel just by default. The Rock.
And I think something that he did as a heel recently was taken out of context and like used against him and like in the social media attempts to create viral moments and stuff, and like they were trying to say like, oh, what a horrible person this is, and he had to come out and explain like, guys, I'm playing a character. I'm a heel. You know, we have
not real.
A lot has been lost in the democratization of opinion giving that the social media has enabled. We've lost a lot.
Yeah, because we're a constitutional republic, and we used to be a republic in nature of who was able to offer opinions, but that's no longer the case because everyone screams into the void.
But you don't suffer from that, fortunately for you. All right, moving on here. Let's see, what other topics or questions do we have? Many here. All right. The chat is going wild with with the heels, Josh.
Yes, I know. The WWE fans really come out once you start talking about it.
Yes, they do. Okay. Shout out to all you guys. Those are our crossover stacking slab listeners. I have no doubts. All
Dude,
right.
now that football's over and basketball's like just coming off the All-Star break, like you could tell we're like talking about baseball and wrestling and
It's the dog days of pre-spring. All right. Oh, this is a question that's designed to get us into trouble, so I just want to say that in advance and just think before, and I'm going to think before I answer.
he's looking at you, Christina.
I know. I turned around and I saw it.
Hold on. How do you mute this thing? Let me just
All right, Doc Collects Cards says this. What is one criteria that you use to unfollow people on hobby Instagram? Mine is people who act bigger than the player on the card.
Oh man, where do I start? I'm like actually pretty good at this. I have some thoughts, you know.
You are the expert in this, don't you?
I always send you the I do this one of my favorite things. I'll send you a screenshot of something that someone will do that annoys me, and then I send you a subsequent screenshot that shows like the follow or follow back, you know, and then on the bottom it says like, do you want to remove them as well as a follower?
Which is the kind thing to do. It's
usually the pivot away from cards once you've built your community in cards. That's the one that really, like your account name is something cards, you post about cards, you build a collection, and then all of a sudden you're posting something else. Like, it's not necessarily like a personal thing. It's just like, you know, I'm following my Instagram feed is catered for, you know, I'm following card accounts. So if you switch, then I'm just going to unfollow you.
Yeah, it's a perfect answer. I've got nothing to add to that.
I got a few things.
Let's go.
All right. I don't see you as a big unfollower.
It depends.
I see you as one who doesn't follow in the first place.
That's also true. But I was a little more lax when I first started my Instagram of who I followed and following back like people. And I have unfollowed some people, mostly like Josh says, like people who've pivoted away from cards. I also unfollow people who support stupid people, and I don't want to see that on my feed, so I unfollow you or mute you if the optics won't look good for me to unfollow you.
She invokes the middle ground.
Yeah, well,
of the mute.
I mute a lot of people.
Mute's a solid move. The other one is, this one's gonna sound mean. This is gonna get me in trouble probably. That's fine. when just people post like a lot, you know, like I gotta like, you know me, I have to look at all the stories, you know, I gotta get through the stupid notifications and stuff. And if I have to like click like 30 times a day to get through your stories to get to the next person, having to like swipe instead of clicking through them, it's like, all right, this is too much. You post too much.
Yeah. All good points. All right. From Perimeter Collectibles, Mahomes cards have sold lower each successive year recently, despite back-to-back Super Bowl wins. Is this a leading indicator that ultra high-end is still in correction territory, or a lagging indicator that merely reflects past market trends?
This sounds like a trap, trying to get us to predict the market's going up. I don't know.
Yeah, so this question definitely, like we've talked about this once already, right? This card, okay? This is the one that Rovell had the tweets about, that other collectors were talking about how, like, the thrust of the tweets was this. After Mahomes' first Super Bowl win, it wasn't really after, it was like years after. This sold for almost $500,000. And then after he had 2 Super Bowl wins, this sold for $312,000, and then yesterday it sold for $276,000. And here's I thought about this question. A lot of good points have already been made. Market definitely has corrected some. Other points that need to be acknowledged are that Mahomes is exiting his place as a prospect and entering his place as a player for GOAT collectors, so to speak. That is a factor. The lack of the ability to secure loans and financing is a factor. All these things are factors. The competing alternative ways to spend your money, all the things we've talked about numerous times, all a factor, plus the card selling 3 times in 4 years. I mean, these are all factors. But here's a factor that I haven't talked about yet, that I think is a factor, which is if we look carefully at what this card is. All right, most people, I think, who are not Mahomes collectors, don't really care. Just going to look at it and be like, oh, that's an NT Shield, and holy crap, it sold for over $250,000. And man, what a great card. But what if we actually dig into what this card really is? And this card is the 2017 NT Rookie Photo Shoot Material Signatures Red NFL Shield Autograph. All right? This is not the true Shield. This is not the parallel to the true Shield.
No.
And let me pull up my Mahomes spreadsheet that I made. Oh, that's awful on the eye. I'll just talk instead of showing that. Mahomes has one true parallel. He has one Platinum NFL Shield parallel 1 of 1 to his base set RPA. All right? He has one. Just one Shield. And that card, as we all know, sold for over $4 million at one time. Here's all the other Shields that he has in NT. Outside of the true. Okay? Outside of the true. He has the Rookie Material Signatures NFL Shield Red, 1 of 1, which we just saw. Rookie Colossal Signatures NFL Shield, 1 of 1. Rookie NFL Gear Combo Materials Shield Tag, 1 of 1. Rookie NFL Gear Combo Materials NFL Shield Tag, 1 of 1. Rookie NFL Gear Trio Materials NFL Shield Tag, 1 of 1.
Jeez, I don't know these.
Rookie NFL Gear Quad Materials NFL Shield Tag, 1 of 1. Rookie NFL Gear Signatures Combos NFL Shield Tag 1. And some of these are dual cards or multiplayer cards. And Rookie NFL Gear Signature Trios NFL Shield Tag, 1 of 1. The 2017 National Treasures NFL Shield Dual, 1 of 1. Rookie Glove Signatures NFL Shield, 1 of 1. Rookie Hats Off Signatures Team Logo NFL Shield out of 3. Rookie Jumbo Prime Signatures Booklet NFL Shield, 1 of 1. Rookie Jumbo Prime Signatures Booklet Vertical Variation NFL Shield, 1 of 1. Rookie Laundry Tag Signatures NFL Shield, 1 of 1. And Rookie Quad Booklet NFL Shield, 1 of 1. All right. And I'm still not done. There's the Tremendous Treasures NFL Shield, 1 of 1. That's the last one. Okay, that's the last one. So I don't know how many I just said. And like some of those I wasn't mentioning. About half of those feature other players too. They're duals or multiplayer. But here's the point. You've got the one true Platinum Shield 1 of 1. And when I say true, I mean it's the parallel. It's the only Shield parallel 1 of 1 to the true RPA. All right? You have that, and then you have all this other stuff. All of it. And it's a lot. And here's the factor. All right? Here's what the factor is. This card belongs to the rest of it. This card belongs to the pool of not parallels to the true 1 of 1 RPA. To me, I think that is a big factor, or at least I can say that it is for somebody like me. And when you had a period in the hobby 3 or 4 years ago when, Mahomes cards had only been in existence for 3 or 4 years and everything felt new, and if it was a rookie year NT with a shield and an autograph and the design resembled what the true RPA looked like, you might say, that's good enough for me. How many can there be? But I think that there's been a pivot as time passes. I think we're going to continue to pivot this way as more time passes, that there's the true, and then there's everything else. And the everything else can be great, but they're consolation prizes to the true. So, long rant there. I see Ankesh lost a little bit of patience with the reply, but
it's sold three times. It's sold. The same card is sold 3 times, plus the fact that it's not the true.
Yes, and that's the thing. Not only is it not the true, but there's so many not trues. Okay, there's so many that the considered collector will buy that and say, hey, look, this is a great. I'm very happy with this. I wanted the rookie photo shoot insert patch autograph card. I wanted that one. So, and I'm happy with it. This is where I'm happy with it. That very well could be the case. But I think there's less illusion now than there was a few years ago about what this card actually is. This is not the Shield autograph 1/1 from NT. It's not. I think that causes cards to lose a little momentum, especially as time goes on and more of them come out. And you know, you see the Colossal and you see the rookie photo shoot and stuff. So, all right. Sorry about that. That's my answer. Consider that factor. Consider the evolution of the collector. If I could trim it down to just one phrase.
I feel like we've moved into this train of thought recently, like not picking up specific cards, or cards will come across us and it's like, maybe a couple years ago we would have bought this because we just, we're buying stuff. But now it's like we're really waiting for like the one card or the true parallel, or waiting for that correct card to come across before we jump on it. And we're just sort of like gathering up the money and waiting to strike on like the one we really like. I'll send you something. It's like, oh, you should go for this, and you're like, I'd rather have the black prism. Like, I don't even want the gold anymore. You're just sort of like continuously moving up the chain to waiting for the best of the best.
Totally. And with a lot of players in this era who are still playing and they're still getting more and more cards, like Mahomes, I don't think is signing many, if any, cards anymore for the manufacturers. But even if he's not, every year a new Prism Black Finite's coming.
Yeah.
Every year 12 select black 1/1s are coming, and the optical, another one of those is coming, and it just starts to really like force you, I think, as a collector to say, I gotta really, really, really find out what cards matter to me especially. And I think we like that. I would also apply this explanation to the Giannis, because I think there's also a pivot back to the 99 and away from the parallels. I do see this sort of return to principles.
Yeah, dude. If I was a Shea Gilgeous collector, I would sell I'd be like selling everything this week, just waiting for that black to end. Because I just would I'd rather have the black Prism 1/1 rookie than 2 gold Prism rookies if I had them, and 3 RPA 99s. I would just sell all those and get the one true black at this point, because it's like this. The correct one is at auction. We keep seeing these off true rookies like the Mahomes hit. We see all these random cards hit, and then it's when that Duncan Gem Master hits, and then the Shea black, it's okay, these are the actual ones. If I was a Duncan collector and a Shea collector, these are the real true 1/1s that I'd be going after for these guys as collectors. So get the right one.
Yeah. All right. Next question here from Iowa Dave Sports Cards. He says, what are your thoughts on eBay sniping software? I get why people use it, but a big part of me finds it offensive. It feels lazy. It feels like cheating. If you're going to try to win an auction, wait for the final countdown like the rest of us, and then as your pulse begins to rise, put in your strongest bid. Then again, I'm probably just jealous and feeling sour grapes when I don't win an auction.
One of the biggest failing features of eBay is that they don't have a way to set notification reminders for custom intervals, because it's happened to me more than 0 times where I get the 15-minute notification and I'm doing something else or I'm watching the game or whatever, and then 16 minutes goes by and I'm like, oh my God, I missed the freaking auction. So it's not that I, would use the tools to like cheat or get some advantage. It's just like, this is the only way that I can 100% make sure I get my freaking bid in because of these damn notifications.
Yeah. Yep. It's like a 14-minute notification now,
15.
I think is
15.
15. Yeah.
I used to have an option where when I pulled the notification down, it would say like set another 1 minute before the auction ends, but that's gone. So I don't know.
Yeah, I remember you had that, and I was jealous of that because as an iPhone user, we never had that. Or I never had it. I could never figure out how to get to it. Yeah, that's. But what about the sniping software?
I think they're good. I like them. I wish there was like, I wish eBay had one. I don't know. I don't know why. It just feels like some of those are kind of sketchy sites, and some of them you got to pay. And I don't know if I have confidence in them 100%. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have a recommendation for like one that I would for sure use.
That's the huge risk. Is like, how pissed are you going to be if the software glitches and doesn't work?
I think Dixon or something like that was one that I used a few years ago. Do you remember that one? Yeah, that's the only one I remember.
I've never used one. Probably should have a few times, but I can never be mad. I can never be too mad at a collector who wants less people bidding on his cards. I get it. I know where you're coming from on that. Understood. But you know what? If you want to win the card, just set that personal alarm clock and get that bid in. That top all bids or whatever.
Set multiple alarms, dude. I would set them for 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before, 2 minutes before, 1 minute before.
Yeah. And don't just like, I've had situations where I thought that I had properly estimated what 13 hours from now is, and I've put the wrong alarm in.
Yeah.
Double check. I always double check my work now.
You don't know how many times I've Googled this phrase, current time in MST, because it'll say like time in so I'm like, what time is it right now in MST? Yep. I know what time it is for me, and then I'm like -2 hours, like so bad at that.
Yep. Exactly.
Do you ever just bid on something way in advance because you're gonna forget it, and you just like, here's my bid. If I lose, I lose. If I win, whatever.
Yeah, that's like what is that like?
It's not really a mega bid. It's not really a mega bid. It's just like a really early bid.
Final bid.
Yeah.
Premature final bid.
Lazy bid.
Lazy bid. Yeah. All right.
Current time in MST.
Let's move on to the next question here because we had so many questions today. Football Card Dude 12 says, on the Card Ladder Industry tab, there is about $150 to $200 million worth of sales per month. Any guess as to what percentage of that is flips, speculation, gambling versus long-term purchases?
How we talk about percentages of the print runs hitting auction like within a year, like the Giannis you said sold 8 times and there's 25, but it was like the same one. Didn't we kind of come up with a number of like 10 to 20% is like high for a year?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
So with this question, I kind of feel like it's not a true, that 10% is all the flipping and investing and the other 80 is collectors holding it, but it kind of feels like it's answers that question to a degree, right? Like maybe it's like 70-30.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can get into these situations where, you can, let's say there's the path of 2 cards. Let's say I have the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Optic Gold rookie, number 8 of 10. And that's purchased by a collector on January 13th, and it gets put away. Maybe it gets graded, goes into their collection, and it's put away. And then there's another copy of the same card. Let's call it copy 3 of 10. And that one gets purchased by a flipper on January 20th. And then they take it to the Dallas Card Show in March, and they sell it to somebody. And then that guy takes it to eBay and sells it. And he sells it to a dealer friend who looks at his page often to see what new cards he's posting on eBay. And then that one, and then this 3 of 10 goes to the National, and it gets traded for a bunch of other cards. And the guy who traded into it sends it to auction with a consignment company. And then that consigner sells it, and it gets purchased by another dealer who's setting up at the Burbank Card Show in a few weeks. And now it's in a display case there. And then somebody there takes it, and they grade it with PSA, and then they get it back. And then they throw it up on, an auction house's weekly auction.
It's loosely based on the true story.
Yeah. And then by the time it's done, you've had 2 cards. One went to the collector and then went away. The other one got put into the Flipper's Vortex. And the Flipper's Vortex copy has a velocity of 6, 7, 8 times over a 1-year span what the collector copy had. And so in the data set, that Flipper's Vortex copy is going to be 7 times, 8 times, whatever. It's going to be many multiples more sales volume than the collector copy is. And I do think that there's a pretty good chance that a lot of the volume is stuff like that. And we have other data points we've talked about previously on the show. We don't need to rehash that when people grade their cards, the overwhelming majority of them grade them and they don't come up for sale.
Yeah, it's like 85%, something like that.
Exactly. So I think there's probably a decent chance that a sizable percentage of that is more speculation, flipping, dealing activity.
Yeah. And the example you used of the 8x velocity, it's 8x the velocity, but the print run of those 2 cards is equal. It's 1-to-1. So you get this thought that like of the 10, 8 of the 10 have sold, but only 1 of the 10 have sold. It just looks like it's more, so it's just weighing it down. And we're seeing that with, I bet you could even, if you really, really tried and cared, you could do this with the MJ Fleer PSA 10, where there's 300 whatever, and if we could probably find the history of sales on like 50 of them all time, and the other 250, we have no idea where they are. It's probably something like that,
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Interesting question. A question of first impression on this show, which makes us think a little bit. From Drake's PC, regarding oh no, come on. Come on.
Just pay the full price, Drake. There's the answer.
Drake would like to know how to negotiate with somebody who has his cream. I'm just joking.
Maybe if he started his questions with "always enjoy the show," we'd be nicer to him.
I doubt it.
Well, you know what? He has provided content week after week for this show.
Yeah.
So
it's like half our show at this point.
He's basically the 4th host. All right. Drake says this. Regarding last night's PWCC Premiere auction results, were there any surprises, good or bad? And so you know what I'll do?
You tell me. You had some thoughts.
I do have some thoughts. I thought it was a pretty underwhelming auction. What I'll do in case I should be showing what I'm doing. In case people don't know how to do this, if you go to Card Ladder Sales History, you hit Filter. For platform, you select PWCC Premiere, which I already have selected. Put the minimum date as Wednesday, because the premiere ended Thursday. And then just hit apply. And then I'm going to sort by price and descending order so that the highest is first. And then I'll just kind of fly through these results and have some quick reactions. We already talked about the Mahomes. We got some Pokemon cards. Josh, is there any reaction you want to have to this Umbreon? Okay.
I have no idea what that card is. I don't know why it's expensive. I have no clue.
Me neither. All right, we have another Mahomes. This was an interesting Mahomes just because this is a parallel to the true RPA. This is the red swoosh, 2 of 2. There's another swoosh that's running at Golden, I think, but it is not to the true. So
it goes the other way.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
Can you actually read off every Mahomes 2 out of 2 card for the next 20 minutes.
No, we'll pass on that, I think. Okay, we have this Charizard PSA 10 for 168,000. So I have no comment on that. This card is down. This altered PSA altered authentic MJ PMG red, which had like very nice edges. Probably because it sold for 120,000. That's the lowest that any copy, including altered copies, have sold for in years.
Yeah.
Might be impacted by the fact that a different altered copy just sold a month or two ago. And I also think like the buyer pool for that card was probably kind of similar to the buyer pool for this one, which I think is probably the coolest card in the auction, maybe one of the coolest. Which was this Duncan Gem Masters. This sold for 120,000 as well, which is a lot of money for a Tim Duncan card.
If that was Penny Hardaway, I'd be falling over myself. Like that's an incredible card.
Yeah, really cool card. PSA 7 Gem Masters Tim. The auction. A Kobe PSA 10 Top Chrome Refractor sold for $100,000, and the color is seen better days.
He's turning into the whole.
Nothing to bat an eye at there when a card goes for $100,000. This card actually sold for more than the last comp, which was quite a while ago. Curry's a Top Chrome Refractor PSA 10. It went for $69,000, and the previous sale was $62,000 from 9 months ago. But I just here's one to sink your teeth into. The 2023 Absolute Rookie Year Green Kaboom CJ Stroud PSA 10 sold for $37,000.
Horizontal. You have to say the horizontal.
It is the horizontal. That's right.
So it's not even the true Kaboom Emerald.
Yeah, there it is in all its glory. I don't really have a lot of takes on this. I did notice that a lot of cards didn't do that well. This card did well though. This Shaq PMG Championship is an all-time high in the grade at 28,000 for BGS 8.5 Shaq Championship PMG. But stuff went low. More than a couple PSA 10 Michael Jordans were in here. How about this? A Chet Holmgren PSA 10 RPA, $22,000. Just an underwhelming auction, and like I said, a lot of the sales that got logged that were cards that were tracking in Card Ladder were down from the prior sale. You can look at the indexes, like the high-end index or the CL50. Both of them took a hit.
Yeah.
After that auction,
they only had 91 cards too, which I always take as like a good sign for the long term, just because less stuff selling and stuff is getting held more and people aren't willing to sell at these prices anymore. So I know that they also raised the floor to $15,000, so that's like a big reason that these premieres are getting smaller, but they're also getting smaller even without that change.
Yep. And even as the auction gets smaller, we don't see that resulting in like more money going to the smaller pool of cards.
Yeah.
We're still seeing, at least in this particular premiere, and it may have been the particular composition of the particular cards, but we saw some really like mind-blowing sales, like a Shaq Champ PMG going for $28,000 or the Duncan Gem Master going for 120, but a lot of these sales were down. All right. From Enjoy Cards IG, I know you guys are not set chasers, but if you were and you were collecting a very low-numbered modernish insert set that was not well known, would you share it on social media to help you find the cards? Or would you keep it quiet for fear of other people becoming interested and thus hurting your chances of finding the card you need at reasonable prices, asking for a friend?
I'd probably post it and ask for help.
Yeah. Me too.
I feel like the second one is more of a, you just like, you're thinking, oh, everyone's going to like it after I show this thing off. But usually like people are kind of in their own worlds chasing their own things and they're not as concerned, but it could help you find stuff.
Yeah, a little A/B testing doesn't hurt. you can find out right away if like this set that you found is as great as you think it is. If you float it out there and nobody cares, you know, maybe it's just you who loves it.
It's not that nobody else will care. I think you'll probably get a few people that care. I just don't know that it'll have like a real effect on like raising the prices to the point where you're unable to now get them.
Yeah. There's also something to be said about doing that journey together with your social media community. Like if you find something and you share it, and like it's just a lot more fun when other people are in on it too. But there is a bittersweet nature of it, because like in the event that it does lead to 4 or 5 other people competing with you for these cards who wouldn't have otherwise, yeah, you're gonna be paying a lot more. But I prefer the method of just like, hey, these are some thoughts that I'm having. It's more of an extrovert versus an introvert thing almost.
Yeah.
But like the extroverted part of me likes to talk about the things that I'm interested in. It makes it more enjoyable to be interested in them.
Plus, I selfishly just want other people to share the cards they're collecting and post pictures of cards they're interested in keeping and buying for the purpose of owning. You know, I'm just, unless you're going to start just like hyping it up so that you can inevitably dump it on us, if we can avoid that, that'd be nice.
Please.
Just got this in available.
Will be in hand. Christina bought a card that will be in hand Monday, but she already bought it. But the seller will have it in hand Monday. And then
the seller will have it in hand Saturday, so they'll ship it on Monday to me.
There.
So is today acquisition day?
Yesterday was acquisition day.
You could have went live with your acquisition day.
Like print a picture of it maybe or something like that. All right. 1956 Tops Guy says, what is your favorite way to buy cards? At a card show, in a private deal, over eBay, from an auction house, other, and why? And before you answer, let me tell you what the poll results were when I made this into a poll for my Instagram story. Over eBay was the most popular. In a private deal was the second most popular. At a card show was the third most popular. And at an auction house was a distant fourth. It was 8% of the respondents said at an auction house.
You mean people don't like paying 20% premiums and waiting 3 weeks to get it?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 3 months if you need to like leave it in a vault or something.
Yeah, true.
The customer has spoken. This one, I'm not only going to tell you that it's a private deal, but I'm going to get real specific with you and make this more fun. The best is when the private deal is just like, I say an offer, they say one that's a little higher, we meet in the middle, then I agree to wire / send them the money, right away or the next morning. They confirm that they get it. I drop my address. They print out the FedEx overnight label. They drop me the FedEx tracking link, not just and don't take a picture of it. You got to copy paste it in there so I can copy paste it into my browser. Then I see the FedEx tracking update very quickly, and then the next day I have the fucking card. That whole thing that I just described, it happens to me like 1 out of every, 3 or 4 cards that I buy. And when I do, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's a great. Somebody should remember when we had Riley. Somebody should transcribe that into bullet points.
It's just like when I find a seller that meets me on all of those things I just said, dude. Every deal I've ever done with Justin goes exactly like I just described. To a T. It's the exact same. So he's making fun of me, but he knows what I'm talking about. I don't know. It's just so great. And I feel like anytime I find a seller who meets me on that, I'm like, yes, we're best friends now. And it's just like the lowest common denominator thing we can be best friends about. But this is great.
Yeah. And I want to just like underscore what you underscored, which is a little detail that's a big detail.
Yes.
Put the tracking number on its own message into the DM, so I can just highlight that message, hit copy, punch it into Google, and then let Google do its work and bring me to the site.
You put it in the message, and you got to copy paste and delete all the other stuff. Yes,
it needs its own message. Needs its own message.
Or the photo is worse because then it's like, now I gotta open up another tab on my phone and go back and forth between the picture. Oh.
And then you can have a number entry error when you're trying to type it in. You can
Yeah, I'm a big laptop guy. Like I do everything on my laptop. I send text messages on my laptop. I do Instagram messages on my laptop. I don't even know if you knew you could do that, but it's not the best experience, but I do it. And if I have to like switch tabs on that, but even for just on my laptop, it's like I'm sitting there doing keyboard shortcuts to try. Just let me copy paste.
Yeah. Yep. Ways to stand out as a transactor in the hobby.
I feel like if you do all those things I just said, you're just like cream of the crop dealer. Everyone wants to deal with you. I don't know.
You know what else is a perk of the private deal? Is that on eBay, it's a very sterile transaction, which is fine. That's what some people want. But the private transaction, maybe half the time, like when it's happening over DMs or something like that, it leads to something more.
Yeah.
You know? That's nice too. Yeah. Yep.
And then I think the reason people say eBay number one is because it is nice buying stuff on eBay when you have like your credit card saved on there, and I do like this. I bought something else. It wasn't a card, but it was like, you make the offer and it kind of asks you to agree to it before you send the offer. Where if they accept, it's just like order details. I actually like that as a buyer. It just feels like the whole thing just feels very efficient.
Agreed. It does. It is nice too if you just cuts out a lot of the BS. Just get straight to business.
Man, you're just your DMs just must be something. Hey, he's like, hey, that was a really smooth deal, and you're like, yeah, man, smooth as butter, and you're like, man, I like things smooth, and then he's like, yeah.
Hey, come to my DMs for a deal on cards and more. Where this leads. All right.
You never know where things are going to end up if you complete a deal with Hoj.
All right. We're going to test my lung capacity on the next question.
Is Brax Wall back?
No. What'd you call him? It is not Brax, but he does have some words for Christina later.
Yes, I saw that. Well, I didn't read the whole thing because, I had to scroll to finish.
Yeah, I didn't read it at all because, he's anonymous, so.
Oh,
yeah, he did. He called out, he said something, he directed it at Christina, right?
Yeah, but it's nothing bad.
No, that's fine. I don't care because they're not a real person. So when they want to identify themselves, I'll maybe take their opinion into consideration.
Don't preempt their reply.
I'm just saying, you guys are chopping it up for the audience and for me when you know that I didn't read it. So
it's not Brax Ball?
It is.
This is my.
It is Brax Ball cards.
Yeah.
All right. Next question here from the Cardfather 13.
Identify.
Recognizing that we all have budget constraints, when collecting multiple player PCs and/or sets, do you find yourself incorporating economic principles into an overall collecting process and/or philosophy versus just trusting your intuition? We talk a lot about opportunity costs, but I rarely hear mention of indifference curves, marginal rates of utility, substitution, and transformation when factoring multiple PCs. More is always better, but each item after the first is marginally worse. And this is the key. This is the thrust of it here. More is always better, but each item after the first is marginally worse than the former item. Just like a 32 ounce of soda is only marginally better than the 16 ounce. A second Jokic Gold Prism is only marginally better than the first. At a certain rate, your first card of a lesser player in a new PC has more utility than the 100th LeBron card in your collection. Therefore, would it be wise for collectors to adopt more economic principles to make smarter purchasing decisions? Or do you suggest that the hobby is an anomaly and it's a place where our intuition supersedes math? And I ask because when I reflect back on my past purchases, I feel like my gut instinct often betrays me, and I have regret that I could have gotten more utility in my PC for my money.
Is this a quality over quantity question?
On some level, the assumption here is that it's there you get more satisfaction out of getting your first big card of a player than getting your second, and especially more than your 100.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that's probably true. Although I think you can peak later. I think you can like get cards of a player and then like build up to your best card. Your best card might not be your first. Not that that's exactly what he's saying either, but I don't know that it follows that you get more enjoyment out of a lesser card, out of a big card of a lesser player than you do out of your 100th card of your primary player. It might be true, but it doesn't. It's not necessary. It's not going to be true in all cases.
Well, do you struggle getting enjoyment collecting Jokic, given that you've already got your favorite in your collection? Like, everything you buy isn't as good as that, so it's just like hard to hit that excitement level.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I think that's right. There's a point. So what about this bigger question of like, he's saying, should we use more economic principles, maybe a different way of looking at it, or a similar way of phrasing it is like, should we just get more logical and rational and sort of think through our purchases more?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit this year, or at least I have mentioned. I've been trying to be more intentional about, saving my money for the right purchase and taking a day or two to think about it before I jump on. People are really interested in your hair in the chat. It's distracting. Both your hair and their comments.
Chewy's just bringing it up because he's a big hat collector and he's probably going to push a hat on me. He's like, cover up that head of hair.
Well, he's saying you're close to like doing like a hair flip kind of deal.
No, I'm not.
You're getting towards like the like some sort of like Brad Pitt, like, oh yeah, look at that hair.
Yeah, don't think so.
Put that down, right? Hair flip.
All right, we've got it. Here's what I think about that, Josh. I don't know if it's. I think you have to be motivated by excitement, having fun, passion, but you can train your brain in the downtime to be excited and passionate about the things that you want to be excited and passionate about. That's what I think. Just like let's say I'm playing basketball and I want to be I love playing basketball, so I just go out and play it, and that's the motivation, is that I love it. But like, I also need to like spend an hour or two a day getting up 100 shots, doing some dribbling drills, practicing my mechanics, etc. That enhances when I actually get in the game and play. I'll be better. I'll have more fun. So that's the time, I think, for rationalizing. Just like this is an exercise that I do when I make a new PC player, is I go build a checklist of all their rookie cards. And, I think that helps.
And then you read the whole checklist on a live.
Yeah, and then I read it to you guys to put you to sleep.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Getting your reps in, your training reps for future potential purchases.
Definitely. All right. Tyson Corner Card says, does the strength in the crypto market and tech stocks spill over into the world of high-end cards and cookbooks?
I think so, right? I mean, I feel like we've been talking about this for a few months and it hasn't really materialized in the way we wanted to, but I don't know. I thought it was more like the interest rate thing we were talking about than it is the stock market.
Yeah, the interest rate thing is a factor. And if it is going to, it might not yet, okay? Because as well as crypto is doing and as well as the stock market is doing, the S&P 500 is just a few points over its all-time high from years ago. Okay, so it's basically just gotten back to where it was in 22. And Bitcoin isn't back to its all-time high. And the difference is when that bull run was happening 2 or 3 years ago, you had people who entered Bitcoin at $7,000 a coin, $15,000 a coin, $2,000 a coin, and all of a sudden it's 65. And so they're like, I'm going to sell some of this, and then I'm going to splurge on a card. Those things can happen. But right now, there's some semblance of a bull run happening, but it's nothing like that one was. And it's not to the point where people are like, hey, let me take some cash out because I just got all this extra money. Let me go buy it on, things that I enjoy, like collectibles. It hasn't gotten to that point. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it hasn't gotten there yet. So I wouldn't look for that spillover to be happening at the status quo. You need Bitcoin to go to like 120,000. And then maybe you have some people cashing it out and putting money over into cards.
Yeah, I feel like we keep getting this question, like when is the card market going to go up in value, and when am I going to start seeing gains in my collection? And I was kind of, which is fine, like people saw that for a decent window, and like it caused excitement. It generated new businesses to pop up, and it kind of put people into this industry that they don't want to leave because they've enjoyed it and they've found a space in it where they've found their passion for it and whatever. So I get that. It's great. But there might just be a reality, Chris, where like we kind of go back to like 2012 to 2018, where it's just like cards are just collectibles and the prices don't really jump up that much. They just sort of like are treated as a collectible, and sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. Sometimes you'll have a scenario where a collector wants to pay more than the last person, so that one will go up. Sometimes it auctions too much. Like, we might not get back to like this, everything doubles over a 6-month window. That might not happen again. We might just sort of live in this new world where it's flat.
Totally, man. And one of the reasons why I think is because cards, as much as cards have corrected as a percentage basis off of their all-time high. So like, let me talk, this card paints the picture, I think, quite well. The 96 Topps Chrome Refractor Kobe PSA 10. It got as high as 500,000. It had sales at 400,000. It had sales at 250. It had sales at 300,000. And then yesterday in Premiere went for 100,000. All right. It hasn't come down enough. It hasn't come down. That card in 2019 was 16 grand. All right.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like the gift and the curse of a highly desired item in a collectibles market is that it might never come down enough for us to see bull runs every 2 to 3 years. It might need to be another 10 years, another 12 years, 8 years, whatever. It might need to be a long time before we get to a point where like all of a sudden it can start shooting up rapidly again because, inflation and some other bull run in some other sector brings money in, or there's some other rush or, rush of flood of new people coming in. Many reasons what can cause prices to go up. But dude, a Kobe Bryant refractor PSA 10. It's an iconic card. It's an amazing card from the first issue of Topps Chrome. I don't want to take anything away from the card, but I don't want to give it undue praise either. It's a refractor. All right. There are 63 PSA 10s, which is pretty low. 736 total graded according to GemRate's Universal Pop. All right. 700 whatever I said, 63. I think the tricky part here is that cards might not ever correct enough to have to have in the short term another bull run on a widespread level.
But enough for it to shoot up in price. But why is that something we're waiting? Like, what does that do? If the Kobe, if I'm waiting for the Kobe to double in price, and then what?
Yeah, and then sell it, and
it's just like, I think a lot of it is that we've seen a lot of these cards go through the full gamut of prices. We've seen them go, that, like you said, 16. We've seen it go work its way up to 500, work its way down. As someone who potentially might want to own that card, why would I pay more? Why would I pay 200 grand when I know even if it does go up to 500. I've seen it very recent past. It's just going to go back down. And if my goal is to like own this card, why would I be the one to double the price and push it up really quickly? There's no incentive for me to do that. Like we've learned from this window, it doesn't make any sense to do that if it's going to come back down.
Yep.
So it might just stay flat. It might just sit there, or it might just keep trickling its way down.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that, or you have to adjust to focus on cards where that isn't really a factor. You just don't care about that.
Yep. Or if somebody wants to play the gamble of cards, you might need to learn a thing or two about sports and figure out how to prospect and understand the risks there, and turn off ESPN and start thinking for yourself.
Oh, shoot. You mean that Kendrick Perkins isn't going to tell me who are the best players in the NBA?
He might, or he might not, but I don't want to take it from anybody. I need to believe it, figure out for myself. And there's like, in this era, I think the cards that are going to characterize bullishness are the ones that, like, because Josh, you triggered this thought when you were like, why there's 63 of these. I know why would I go overboard when I know there's going to be another one coming sooner or later, and I know what the established price it is right now. The thing that's going to break that spell, I think, is when a card is just so special, or it's so unique, and it's so important, it's so significant, it's so meaningful to the collector looking to buy it, that they will overlook that. And they will say, I will extend myself beyond what's probably reasonable because I have to have it that much. Like a Tim Duncan Gem Masters or something like that. Because to me, that Tim Duncan Gem Masters, which is not a rookie card, I don't value that card at anywhere near 120,000. So,
yeah. I mean, you're speaking like 2017 talk right now. It's just like, oh, that card's not rare enough. Don't care. Or that card's amazing. I gotta, do whatever it takes to get it. And then the next person who might want it more than me, and that was the way that card values moved up, just because it was like so hard to get that the next person had to pay more because this is potentially their only chance.
Yeah. There's a sense of calmness, I think. Like, one of the things that's so anxiety-inducing about collecting active players is having to recognize that their markets hit crescendos and then they come down. And if you're a holder of the cards of that person and you don't sell when their market is at a hot point, those prices are going to come down, and the value of your collection is going to go down. And that's something that just like pushes me more towards wanting to collect GOATs, is just that, not ironically, that I haven't been focusing too much on that retired players lately, but that sense of anxiety, I've hoped and wanted it to go away. I definitely don't want to ever be in a position where I feel like with Michael Jordan cards, like, as much as I love this card, I'm an idiot if I don't sell it now because the market's overheated for it. And then, I need to get it back later. And I just don't want to collect that way. I know a lot of people do, and they like the transactional nature of it. I want everything that I buy to be like a forever card to the extent possible.
Yeah.
And a flat market is more conducive to that.
Agreed. That was a nice way to sum it up. And I'm glad you were able to take some strays at Duncan there.
No strays at Duncan. Duncan's great. Nothing against that.
I don't even value that card anywhere near what it sold. All right, on to my next one.
I don't. Like, you don't want to know what I think that card, what I would pay for that card.
That was like a drive-by. You're just like, pow, Duncan, move on.
I think that's like a $15,000 card.
Oh my God.
All right.
What's the Jordan? Yeah, I thought that would be like your number one MJ.
Yeah. Duncan's weird because Duncan has rookie year PMG Grain, rookie year PMG Red, rookie year PMG Champ.
just like happened to be his rookie year. I don't know. Like I get that it's a rookie year, but like it's not like an established product with many. It's not like a Prism Black where like everyone has a rookie Prism Black. It's just like a random year where there was green PMGs one time and he happened to be a rookie. It's different.
Yeah, it is different. It is different. But like if that card was like a Topps Chrome Superfractor or if it was a Prism Black, playing years, like even the first appearance, like it's not 120,000.
Yeah,
Definitely not even close. So, but that's the power of the PMG. That's the power of the 90s. It's the power of the Gem Master.
I would 15 grand. That's offensive. That's just.
Yeah, maybe I'm just bad because it's out of my range.
Yeah, you're a secret Duncan collector. I think you like David Robinson better than Duncan.
I do. I like David Robinson a lot. All right.
Duncan is a product of the system. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
A system power forward?
Yeah, he's like a Greg Popovich pawn.
We'll call him a bishop or.
That's not looking good for. That argument's not looking too good right now with how bad Popovich teams have been.
Yeah, I wouldn't give all the credit to Popovich. Publius is in the chat, and he'll tell you about how important some of the other players were, like Parker. Yeah.
Duncan was good, man. He actually had big time numbers. He just wasn't ever like the top.
Yeah, and his resume is just it's unbelievable. 5 championships.
Well, he's got like those like playoff runs where he would like average 15 rebounds and 28 points. He has big numbers too.
Yeah. He the big fundamental. Yeah. He was a guy.
The bank shot. That guy fucking ripped my heart out so many times. I hate that guy.
Fair. All right. From Junk Wax Packs, I would. Seasoned listeners of the show will not need to guess Josh's reply to this.
A blank stare.
What are the pros and cons of purchasing duplicate copies of a card? Is this something that either of you do?
Evil. You people are evil.
I do it. It's called trade bait.
Trade bait. It's called evil.
It's called. I actually sold a Maxi Kleba once. The first card I ever sold to a friend who's not a Maxi Kleba collector, and he's probably in the chat. And I only sold it to him because it was a duplicate, and he couldn't find it. Like no one else had it, so he's welcome.
And I saw that card on eBay the other day.
No, you didn't. Nice try, though.
I think I've cleansed our collection of just about any dupe that we had.
And how do you feel?
Less scared to come on the show.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. I didn't like the dupes. I just didn't. Like once I started duping up like the McCaffrey Prism Golds, I got up to 4. I just was like, I need all 10. I need all 10 now, or it's just weird.
Yeah. So if you want to be scared, keep growing your hair out, then you can be scared coming on the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a hair flip though. You got like I don't know how many more crossovers we need to get a hair flip, but now I have to see it.
Well, we'll see. I need to practice with the camera off, and then we'll see if I want to debut that for the audience.
Maybe get some tips from one of your friends that you bought a card from, who you're now other stuff in DMs with. Ask them about hair flips.
Maybe we can get on like a FaceTime and trade hair flip.
I don't know. I know you pretty well. A FaceTime sounds like your absolute worst nightmare. Like having to FaceTime someone randomly.
I can't tell you the last time I FaceTime.
Like if someone calls your phone, like a cell phone calls you, you're like, if they FaceTimed you, you would throw your phone off the bridge.
Yeah, fair. You're not wrong about that. All right. Lots of questions still left here. Vinny Slaverino always enjoys the show. In cards, they say buy what you like. but in grocery shopping, they say only buy the perimeter. Fresh produce, meats, and dairy. If we were to apply this concept to cards, what types of cards would be the fresh produce? And what types of cards would be the Twinkies? Thanks, Vinny.
I feel like I'm pretty good at these like really weird comparisons cross industry, but this one was tough.
Yeah. I think we just got to chip away at it. I'm usually bad at these analogies, honestly. Like, so what cards are the Twinkies? What's the junk filler? For me, lately, for ultra modern players, it's been non-rookie cards that are kind of like, oh, this looks cool. Like a Jokic 1-of-1 comes up and it's like, goes for $500. And I'm like, oh man, this is great.
It's like it tastes really good, but then you're going to pay for it later.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to burn it off,
Yeah.
Let me go take a walk on the Katy Trail and
yes.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're like, man, it's a gold prism. It's amazing. It's a great product. It's gonna taste so good. But then you realize it's not a rookie, and now it's just sitting in your stomach.
Yep. And then or you just like bulk and you have to pay for it all at once, like I did with McCaffrey's, where that PC ballooned to over 100 cards, and now it's down to maybe like 12 or something, 14.
You just had to like run a marathon to get it all off at once.
Yeah. And then what's the healthy stuff? But see, the problem with the healthy stuff on the outside, I guess it's just fresh produce, meats, and dairy. Like, if that fresh produce turns into like a delicious like plate of chicken and rice and veggies and stuff, like, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, here's another thing that I know about Twinkies. And I don't know how Twinkies took astray in this. That's pretty rude. But if I go buy something in the produce section and I leave it out on my counter, it's going to be good for like less than a day. If I go buy a Twinkie, put it on my counter, I'll come back a year later, I can eat that Twinkie.
Yeah, it's like the outer perimeter is like you really have to. It's high maintenance.
Yeah, I feel like over processed foods have taken some heat lately, which I get. But I mean, come on, like we've evolved
into processed food.
We've evolved into processed food. We didn't have them, and now we do because it's better.
The processed food zag that would have never been on my bingo card, but I love that.
I'll take that zag. I don't care. Calories is calories.
It's not real food.
Oh, it's real.
I love that
food. It keeps me alive. And I just keep on eating it, and I can live off of a freaking box of Oreos and.
You make your own pizza from scratch. Stop it.
I just really want to zag. Just let me zag.
That's an all-time zag. I love that.
Is there a single person online that's like, you know what? Fuck the perimeter. I'm only buying these. I'm gonna survive off these boxed foods.
The anti-perimeter zag. That's awesome. All right. Thanks, Vinny. Creative question. Kevin M. Cormier says, when do we officially remove the word valuable from MVP debates? If your team doesn't win the conference, how valuable are you really? Cool, your 6-seeded team became a 3-seed. Who gives a shit? Should we dispense with the notion of valuable and just call it player of the year?
Or most player.
Who is this aimed at?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who's the 6th seed that's taking these shots right now.
Cool, your 6th seed became a 3-seed.
I think the Niners were the 1 seed, or the Ravens were the 1 seed, like all the MVP candidates. It's not football, is it basketball? Who was the MVP last year? Embiid? Weren't they the 2 seed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they were high seed.
For it.
They were
don't know who deserve it.
They were the 76ers.
Not my MVP.
The 76ers were a high seed.
Even if the Nuggets won, they were the 1 seed. Or even if Jokic won.
Yep, they were the 1 seed last year. I Is this like a weird Tatum zag? Where it's like
Who's the MVP right now? Isn't it Jokic?
I think it's pretty close between Jokic and SGA right now.
Both top 4 seeds, not 6.
Yeah. Yep. Either one could finish one. Like, I think they're all within a few games of each other.
But if we take out value, just most player. The most player.
Yeah.
Well, I have a problem with MVP in football because it's not it's not the most valuable player. It's the most valuable quarterback. So it should really be MVQ.
Have you been workshopping that one?
No, I just came up with it. That's why I'm looking offensive resistance.
Nice.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you.
Kevin, follow up, buddy, and let's just get. Are you what you really saying here is like Tatum should be the MVP because he's the number 1 seed, he's the best player on the best team? Is that where you're going with this? Where are you going with this? All right. We have up next bigger, better collectibles. Oh, this question let's just see. Suppose a pack pulled 1 of 1 is returned due to damage, and an exact replacement is issued. If both copies appear on the secondary market at the same time, which card would you prefer to own? Would you pass entirely? Disclosure, I own 1 of 1s, but to my knowledge, no cards I own are subject to this issue. While I avoid all cards that are not in their pack pulled state, 1 of 1s are making me revisit this opinion.
Didn't this happen with the Giannis Logo Man rookie?
It did, but I don't think the damaged original ever made it back to the market.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying, like, the fact that has happened definitely lowers the value for the Giannis for me.
Okay.
It just does.
Why? Because you know there's 2 now?
Not that necessarily. I would think didn't he say if they return it and get a redemption? I would think that if you return it, that Panini would like destroy it or whatever. I don't know that they'd let it back into the wild.
But you don't like the fact that the replacement copy did not come from the pack?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't like the fact that whole thing happened. Like, it just kind of feels more contrived, or like now that it's back in the hands of Panini, that they're like making it and they put it in like a sealed 1-touch and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. Like now it like is outside the norms of distribution of cards and they're having to make separate rules for it. I just don't like it.
I get it. It's like a weird mulligan or something.
Yeah.
It's like a
Even
weird
this,
do-over.
like, I know this has happened with a LeBron RPA where this exact thing happened, and the new patch they put in it, they decided to make it like it was like a very distinctly different patch than all the other 99s. So with the Logo Man, it's fine. You're like, here it's a different Logo Man. They look the same, but this one is like, yeah, that card is like clearly this is the redemption one. There's like a letter from Upper Deck on it, like, hey, we got this as a redemption. We put in a different jersey. It's actually real. Don't worry about it. It's like the fact that you have to explain all that to me lowers the value to me, where it's like I have to now like think about it all the time that this is some secondary redemption copy. I'd rather just have one of the real ones.
Yeah, so like if you were the collector who acquired the damaged Giannis NT Logo Man autograph, just keep it as is.
Yep. It's a 1-of-1. That's probably why the question asker specified that it's a 1-of-1.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, if it's damaged and it's a PSA authentic or whatever, it doesn't really matter because it's the 1-of-1. That's probably why they asked that, right?
No, it's a great point. The part of the question is a specific hypo, which is if both copies made their way to the markets, which card would you prefer, or would you pass entirely? I especially after hearing what you had to say and like agreeing with it, I think I'm probably gonna pass. Unless there's some way that I can get both. Like it's just
which would you, if you had to buy one, which one would you get? And let's say that the redemption was a PSA 9 or a BGS 9.5, like it's a high grade, and then the damaged one like had visible damage, like the auto had something issue, and it was like, basically not graded.
Yeah, this question really jogs my noggin.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, because I don't really have a good answer for this. I don't even really know how to think about it yet. I don't know what principle to use here.
You need another reboot?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Because it's like, I like the provenance better of the pack pulled one, but the story of the card now doesn't end with that card. Now there's another one, and that's the end of the line for this card.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
But you just pass.
I think that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, until I figured out a way to approach this.
Well, the way you asked me when I said I would just keep it, that was me saying like I would not ask for a redemption. I would just like keep it as is, But if you're asking me if the redemption already exists, I would pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, I do. All right, interesting question. All right, from Hoops Hobby. If you were collecting every card of a player, so super collecting,
good luck.
How would you organize or display that collection?
Well, if it's Panini, you would have to get a warehouse. If it's a 2021 rookie, you're going to need a warehouse. If it's a vintage player, you're going to need a 3x3 binder.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I'd probably just like a 3-row box kind of setup.
Yeah.
And top loaders.
Yep, I think so. I wouldn't display. I don't love displaying cards, and yeah, we don't do that. Yeah. Put them things in a box, and
because if you actually I know people made this a thing, like, oh, what if someone comes over your house and it's on your wall and how amazing the story is? Like, first of all, anyone that walks in my house and I had a card on the wall, they'd be like, what the fuck is that? Second of all, if I actually wanted to show them, like, I think it's a more fun experience for you to come sit on my dining room table, me to plop a box in front of you, and you can sit there and thumb through it however you want, Like, you and I always enjoy that when we visit. Like, I'd rather just look at cards sprawled out over a table and in boxes than, hey, go stand in the foyer.
Plus, I don't want to risk overexposing myself to my cards, or having my cards have overexposure to me, where I even risk getting tired of.
I got it. Hold on a second.
Josh has to put something in the chat.
To overexpose myself. You said those words. Overexpose myself
to my cards.
Oh my god! So you're like, whew. So you're like wearing a trench coat in front of your cards, and you're like, wah.
All right, let me just jot that down.
That's a good one right there. It's not too long.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I like walk by that case one day and I'm just like, man, I gotta show myself these cards. No, I have to look at these cards again. I don't ever want that experience.
You don't want to have to see a card every day. It loses the specialness of it.
Exactly. Deep getting a kick out of that.
If you have a like a painting on your wall that you see every day, aren't you just like completely numb to it? You're just like, oh god, who cares?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, these fucking cards.
All right. From Michael Jordan's Vault 23. Will the 2024 National Cleveland break the attendance record of the 2023 National in Chicago? Here in the Chicagoland area, card shows have been jam-packed. How are the shows in the rest of the country?
What was the result of the poll?
The results of the poll, my poll credibility is in question because of somebody. So I put 4 options on the poll. I said, are your shows jam-packed? Are they pretty well attended? Are they sparsely attended? Or are they a ghost town? And like 80% was either pretty well attended or jam-packed. And then a few people put sparsely attended, and then one person voted for Ghost Town.
Look, I only did it because I knew no one else would vote for it, and I just wanted the answers. And there should really be an option that says, like, I'm just here for the answers because I want to see the answers, but I don't want to screw up the poll numbers. So I wrote Ghost Town because I haven't been to shows. So
you went to a Dallas Card Show like a week,
the shows
3
in
4
my
weeks
mind
ago.
have been dead.
No. Answer.
Answer what?
All right. So anyway, those are the poll results.
Dallas
Go ahead.
Dallas seemed sparse to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's just my opinion. I was there. That was like a Saturday morning. No, Sunday morning. Sorry. So it's not the best judge, but it seemed a little bit worse. And Cleveland is much harder to get to. It's a much less desirable city. It's not as bad as Atlantic City, but I just don't think it'll be as big as last year.
Yeah, there's not a chance it's going to be as big as Chicago. Chicago also has a huge built-in audience of people who live near it and who otherwise wouldn't go.
And it's like Michael Jordan area land. Like, it's the land of memorabilia.
You also think, like, Cleveland, like, the hotel options are very subpar.
Boom.
So that's going to drive people to not go because they're going to be like, I can stay in a dumpy airport hotel 3 miles away where I'm going to have to Uber every day back and forth because I have a huge Zion case full of cards that I'm not going to walk with. Or, like, I could just stay home and live vicariously through content and people who are going to be bored at the show because there's not going to be a lot of people there.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is from what the
We'll see you in Cleveland.
Can't wait for Cleveland. All right. Let's squeeze this question in here as we wrap up. This is from What the F Frankie podcast. Are there cards that you own that you don't care if they ever sell in the future? I've been looking more at reasonably priced cards to just own because I like the player or they had some sort of significance. Like, I'm still trying to complete the Greg Oden Bowman Chrome rookie rainbow, a player that was a freshman phenom at Ohio State, but unfortunately never made it because of bad knees. Or defensive players in the NFL that are now in the Hall of Fame because I just love their defense in the 90s and the 2000s.
I mean, you said it earlier, you like hope that all your cards are like that, right? That's kind of like that's like the number one thing of how I base buying a card, honestly, especially right now. It's like, would I mind owning this kind of forever? And that's kind of why I like cards. I feel like a lot of I just like owning them. And I have no desire to move them. I just like having them.
Yeah, agreed. But there is something a little bit else for me, I think for all of us, that goes like something like this. There's not the intent to sell, but there is the desire to know that the market would validate the card if it ever did happen.
Yeah.
There is something extra special or something. There's something better to me about having cards that would have value if they were to come to the market. You know, the market and the price, it signifies something. It signifies an expression of choice, of preference, of something worth spending money on. And it's nice to have items that other people feel that way too, not just me.
Yeah.
But there's also, go ahead.
No, sorry. The question asker is kind of making it seem like I should focus on cards that I know no one would ever want so that I don't have to worry about selling it. But you're saying some combination of the two.
Absolutely. And, sometimes, like what Card Sniper says, sometimes you want to upgrade the cards. Not that you don't like them, but you want to get a better one.
Yeah.
Or make a trade or, yeah, it's a good question. It's a good point. There's a good spirit behind the question.
Yeah.
And usually, not always, but usually, if you feel that way, if I feel that way about a card, probably other people do too. So I like the spirit of the question, though. Definitely like the spirit of that question. All right.
We have some of those. Like, I would say, the Todd Gurley stuff I'm not really buying it to, other than I just like having one player that I collect that's just sort of random, and I can just not worry about selling it or worrying about how much it costs and just kind of have them.
Yeah. Yep. I've got lots of cards that are kind of in that category too.
Yeah.
All right. Northwoods Card Collector says, are the national special packs and cards with the national stamps just gimmick cards from Topps and Panini and Upper Deck? If not, which ones have you seen most notably collected or retained value past the week of the national?
Man, someone's been listening to the show, pulling out the gimmick line.
There were like half a dozen questions I felt like were follow-ups of, or like that continued threads that had been started on previous shows.
Yeah, that's good. I always felt like those national packs for gimmicks was 100%.
Yeah, I don't know that much about them, honestly.
Aren't these the ones that I remember South was like talking to me about them at the last national and trying to explain to me, and it was just like, so these cards are like not real, or they're just like randomly numbered? And he's like, oh yeah, it's just random cards. I'm like, I just don't get this. There's no like order to it, and it's hard to understand it.
Yeah. Yep. It's There
was like a Lamar Jackson RPA hand numbered to like 23. You know, it's like, what is this card?
Right.
Oh, this is the national pack one. It's like, so it's like a card they never stamped, and then it somehow made it into I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know enough about them. I've never sought them out. There's so many other things that I'm looking to collect that I don't really. They've never come into my purview. I do know some people collect them. MK collects them.
Yeah.
So he has like the run of the Mahomes gold or something close to it.
He collects everything, so.
Yes. The list of what he doesn't collect would be smaller. Yeah. It's like he made this post not long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something different. I wasn't even on the right track. This is like a Panini National thing.
Yeah, so these come from, like, for example, this card on the left comes from the 2017 Panini National Convention VIP.
Okay.
That's the checklist that it belongs to. And this is the gold wave prism parallel out of 10.
Gotcha. I don't know that those are gimmicks, because they have, I don't know. That's close. I don't know enough about it either.
All right. A few more seconds left. I want to smash another question in here. Oh, a lot of these are longer. Okay, Collectomaniacs, his thoughts on Prism golf cards with the LIV deal. I don't know anything about golf. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Live and PGA is like this whole thing.
Okay. Gold out of 10 Prism golf cards for the win.
I know that like there's this definite like Live versus PGA. Like some people are like purists to PGA, and they're like, I hate anybody that's taking the Saudi money and doing the Live thing. Like, I hate it. I won't buy the cards. You know, like really against that. So there's gonna be some like drama around that part of it. But having the Prism name attached to it can make it cool.
Yeah, one. Does golf? Okay, there's like two ways this can go. This can go the way of NASCAR cards, or this can go the way of like UFC or F1.
Yeah.
Which, if you had to pick a way that a path, do you think this is going to be more like very anticipated, you know, brings like a whole market bubble like UFC and F1, or do you think this is going to be more like NASCAR, where it's just like these are under the radar, these are for a niche group of collectors, they love and they focus on them, but they're never going to be like these Flippers Paradise cards?
NASCAR. The issue with golf as it pertains to cards is there's not really any superstars, because the parity in golf is so like there's definitely guys that are better than other guys, but you're just not like, since Tiger there hasn't really been like a dominant single person, whereas tennis has like super dominant guys. Golf is just like a lot harder to win every week, so there's just like not enough of exposure to one person. It's really spread out. So it's in that regard, I would say more the NASCAR route. Whereas like UFC and WWE, there's like established superstars and people that win all the time.
Nice. Okay, all right. That will do it for the questions on this week. Pick a title quickly. Have about 10 or so options here. First one, see-through pants. See-through pants.
And we're off. Pants and the question and the topics. The
next one is nothing against base cards. Honestly, nothing against them. The next one is I wonder how his tickets are doing.
Can you tag Darren Ravel in that caption?
That's really good. All right.
It's a really snotty, snarky, shithead comment.
Yep. Love it.
Right on brand.
Next one. Yep. Next one is plant a heckler. Current time in MST.
Google's probably like, all I type is C, and they're like, we know what you're asking.
I like things smooth. I don't know what that one's referring to.
That is.
Oh yeah, I do know what that. The smooth deal.
Yeah, because you were like talking about people in your DMs, and then I was going on the smooth.
Okay. Hair flop.
Hair flip.
Hair flip. Sorry, hair flip. Extend myself beyond. Okay. Trade bait. I can eat that Twinkie.
Dude, I'm gonna spend this whole week workshopping this processed foods are actually better for you than everything else.
Oh,
just let me work on it.
I love that. Follow-up question. Somebody follow up with a question next week, please.
Because people would be like, oh, thank God, now I can. Josh says it's okay for me to eat like an idiot for a week.
All right. The most player. And the final one is I don't want to overexpose myself to my cards.
Is there a trench coat emoji?
I don't know.
I feel like we got to do hair flipper or the exposure stuff.
Christina, would you approve of I don't want to overexpose myself to my cards?
Yeah, that's fine, but you didn't do this one.
Christina wrote down Evolution of the Collector as a title. You like that one the best? But you know what's nice about I don't want to over... That is a trench coat, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want to...
Stiff, which I want to know what Nick's favorite is.
Okay. Because if you say, I don't want to overexpose myself to my cards, that's ambiguous, right?
Yeah.
You could take it the way I meant it, or you could take it in a different way, and that's the fun of it.
Isn't there like a financial thing about overexposure? Isn't that a thing?
Yes, you can be financially exposed.
Saved. Yes, I don't want overexposure to the flipper market.
Exactly. Okay. All right. I don't want to overexpose myself to my cards. That's what we're going with. Thank you all for playing along. Maybe see you next week, but maybe not.
We're reaching the See why Card Ladder is the most respected sports card analytics app on the market. We have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history. Easily find recent comps and get a better estimate what your cards are worth. See why Card Ladder is the most trusted and the most reliable sports card analytics app on the market. We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder, constantly innovating. Try it for free. See why Card Ladder is the industry leader in sports card data. Card Ladder. We're just getting started.